If you are a returning viewer to my channel, I have already made a video about how to prepare for the Mindtree interview, especially for freshers for the role of software engineer in a very short time. In this specific video, it is going to be a continuous part where I am going to explain not just the interview experience but various questions that were asked in the Mindtree interview, so that you can use this video as a question bank and prepare for your interview or prepare during your preparation just before the interview. You can just use this video as a source of questions. So why delay? Let's dive in right into the video. Hi everyone, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Vivek and I host this channel. I make various educational content videos and related to masters abroad and placements preparation series. So if you are new to my channel and you wish to check out many such videos, you can just subscribe to my channel. The link is in the description of various other videos as well. In this video, in the first half of the video, I am going to cover general questions that were asked in the interview. So those are mostly related to projects and resume based. And in the second half, I am going to explain about various technical questions related to software and coding, those kind of topics. So let's go on to see the general question section. Here, most likely they are going to ask about the resume based questions. What you can do in these kind of scenarios is that firstly, before the interview, what is the resume you are going to submit for the job profile, be thorough with whatever details you have mentioned, the projects, the internships, the certifications, and especially your GPA, all those things. Be thorough with whatever you have submitted, and you need to be precise in every detail of whatever work you have done, so that you will not stammer during the interview as well. So let's go on to see the questions so that you can understand it better. The first question, of course, it is going to be tell me about yourself. There is a complete video on my channel about how to answer this question. I am not going to cover that in this video. You can just check that out on how to answer that question. Following that, they have asked about the other questions of how and what are the internships and certifications and explain about them. During these kind of scenarios, what happens is they do not have a technical knowledge of whatever you have done. So most likely you need to have a proper idea of whatever work you have done in the project, the implementations, the equipment used, and the specific purpose of whatever you are going to do. This is going to be enough for whatever interviews you are going to attend, especially these kind of IT related jobs. Going on to see the next one, the problems and difficulties you have faced during your project implementation. So this is the one of the most common questions asked in these kind of interviews, where they expect you to answer the problems you have faced in the project, because when you are working on something, you would have faced problems during the implementation, and you need to also analyze the solutions for those problems. So I expect you, or the interviewers expect you, to have the clear idea of whatever difficulties you have faced and how you are going to whatever you have done to rectify those problems. So this is one of the most common questions. Following that, other questions are going to be explain in detail about your project, and other questions are like why you have chosen this IT field if you are from a non-IT role, right? This is the most common questions. Even I have faced this problem of answering this question, where they ask you this question because it is like a branch shift whatever you have done, right? You have basically studied for 4 years in a different field, and you are shifting to another field. Like you would have just already studied 1 or 2 subjects in the coding or IT related roles, and you need to be specific in answering this question. I have planned to make another video of how to answer this specific question, but as of now, try to answer this question and be prepared to face this question in your interview. Following that, they are going to ask questions about your arrears or whatever backlogs you have during your bachelor's. You need to have a proper justification and proper answer if they ask you of the specific reason of why you have backlogs in your bachelor's. Following that, they also ask for documents like PAN card or passport. Passport is not mandatory in various job roles, especially for this as well, but PAN card is mandatory because it is related to the tax payment and your account, right? So every job needs a PAN card, and if you haven't applied for it yet, try to apply it as soon as possible. It doesn't take much time. It usually takes a week or so. Following that, they have also asked about when your exams are going to get finished and when you will be done with your semester as well. This is one of the important dates you need to understand. Check it with your placements preparation team or placement officers, so you get a proper date of whatever or whenever you are going to join the company. This is very important because the onboarding process starts after the date you have mentioned in your registration process or during your interview. So please be precise with the date of whatever you have planned to join the company. Following that, so some other questions in the general category are going to be the skill set you prefer to work or you prefer for the interview to proceed. This is very important because most of the questions following this in the interview are going to be on this specific answer you give. For example, if you chose to answer this question by selecting Java or C++ that you know, or you have some skills in this skill set in this specific program, they are going to answer or they are going to ask questions on this specific topic or whatever you have mentioned. So be precise, do not answer this question vaguely. Instead, try to be precise on whatever you have prepared, whatever concepts you have studied during your preparation, during your bachelor's, or some of these which are related to your projects, and try to answer on whatever projects you are interested. Also, they are going to ask, this question is going to be at the end of the interview, but since it is a general question, I have added it in this category where they ask you, do you have any more questions? So of course this is going to be a separate video where I am going to explain how you can answer this question. But when they ask you this specific question at the end of the interview, every interviewer is going to ask you this question at the end of your interview. So when they ask you if you have any other questions, they expect you to raise some kind of curiosity or some kind of excitement you have. That is a kind of test to your character, and I suggest you to ask questions. Of course, everybody would have had doubts regarding this the joining process or the work culture or the projects you are going to get initiated after joining. You need to understand a clear idea of how you need to answer this ask this question, and you can just put forth one or two questions when they ask you this specific question at the end of your interview, most likely. So that is the end of general questions. Let's go on to see what are the technical questions asked. Most likely I am going to cover about 20 questions of different students' experiences regarding the software engineer role in the Mindtree interview for the freshers, and you can understand what kind of technical questions were asked. So let's go on to see that. Before going on to see various technical questions what were asked in the interview, I would like to explain how you should answer all these questions. Basically, they are not going to expect you to answer each question in a very detailed manner because they are going to ask you a couple of questions in a very short time. So how you can answer all these questions? You need to just answer with a definition or a small explanation in one or two sentences. Following that, you need to explain with an example of how you can implement that specific question or that specific topic in your specific project or wherever you have done it, or what is the application of that unique thing. For example, if they ask you for an object, you need to explain that with an example and a definition, and that is how things work. Going on to see the questions, I'll just read out various questions that were asked. They will also be displayed on the screen for your convenience. Do you prefer, what programming language do you prefer? Would be the first question of every interview, and the questions following this would be related to the specific answer whatever you have given. So think carefully and answer accordingly. The difference between errors and exceptions, difference between interface and abstraction, how to reverse and store a string, elements of a string in an array, difference between local and global variable, how to remove spaces in a string, difference between equals method and equal to in a string. So why we use implement keyword in interface, break and continue statements, what is Java collection and what are the uses of Java collection. So basically this was, I'll explain another scenario based question where they have asked as such, I wish to store elements but I do not want any duplicate elements in it. Which collection do I use? List, set or any other list. So whatever you are going to do, whatever you are going to answer, kindly have a justification of that specific answer, and that is good to go. You are good to go. You can just write a code if they ask, or you are not required to write a pseudo code or a code in every situation. Following that, there are other questions include, what is a constructor? What is constructor overloading? What is a wrapper class? Difference between wrapper class and a normal class. What is a try and a catch block? Can we use multiple try catch blocks in a same code? What is a final keyword in Java? What is exemption handling? And finally, What is set and map in Java? What are pillars of object-oriented programming? Java is platform dependent or platform independent. Explain it in an example. What is the meaning of platform dependent here? So basically here what they have asked is, they wanted you to explain what does platform mean in this specific question. What is heap memory and stack memory in Java? What is JIT compiler in Java? Difference between local variable and global variable. What is multi-threading in Java? Difference between microprocessor and microcontroller. So this is mostly asked not just for ECE students but CS related students also. So kindly prepare these kind of different branch cross scenarios as well. And what is address bus and binary to decimal conversion Java code. So basically in these kind of scenarios what happens is that they ask you, some cases they ask you for a pseudo code, some cases they ask you for to write a code. And basically Mindtree is such a kind of company where they not just evaluate in your coding skills, but they the evaluation goes on periodically in every stage in the company as well. During the training they check you for coding skills. I have checked with various employees who work here, and based on their suggestion I suggest you to be strong in coding. And not just in the interview, even once you cross the interview, coding is what is continuously evaluated in Mindtree in this institution. So I recommend you to be strong. Try practicing now, you have a lot of time. And that's it for now, that's it for today. I have covered various questions, almost 30 questions I have covered in this specific video. If you still have many doubts, you can just comment it in the comment section. I'll be happy to reply each and every one of you. Thank you so much for staying out so long. This is Vivek signing off. Stay safe, stay informative. Bye bye.